What's up, everybody? Hope you all had a great weekend, and welcome to a Monday edition of Morning Cup of Hockey presented by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. That's Colby Cohen. I'm Johnny Lazarus, and I am so ready to get into it right now. My blood is fucking boiling. We've been yelling at each other the whole morning already. Colby's getting under my skin, I'll admit it, but I don't even know what you want to do. Just say whatever you want.
I just don't understand how we have spent the last 15 minutes arguing about the game-winning goal for the Detroit Red Wings and how you are absolving Alexis Lafreniere from that turnover. Like, the amount of rose-colored pairs of glasses that you have from that stupid seat in the press box, it's seriously embarrassing. Like, you're going to sit here and say it's okay to turn a puck over 2 feet inside your blue line that then ends up in the back of your net. And all I've heard you do is make excuses. You have not had one bit of made one bit of sense in the mental
I've made perfect sense
that you have to do in order to absolve a guy who turned a puck over late in the game and cost his team a goal. Like 150%. It's the beginning of a disastrous sequence. And you could just see how pissed off Jonathan Quick was at the end of the game by his actions, because his team makes stupid, immature plays when they can't score goals on home ice. And then JVR ducked you in the locker room just to make things worse. It had nothing to do with you, purposefully stayed away from you. But I just, like, come on. You can't absolve that guy of that play. I mean, yesterday the Rangers were so back. Last night they get 1 goal on home ice. They had 12 shots to the first period and a half. That team is so lifeless, it's embarrassing.
So a lot of thoughts here. Obviously, let's start with what the hockey world is. Here's the turnover, I guess. So Lafreniere, okay. Before that, Vic, can you pause it right here or not? A little bit back. It's a 3-on-3 rush. 2-on-2 turns into a 3-on-3. Lafreniere turns it over on the boards. And those plays happen. This is a good picture right now. No, Vic, leave it pause, please. Okay, this is going to be a problem here. If you pause the picture right here, there's 3 blue jerseys on 3 red jerseys. This is a fine picture.
Well, Alex DeBrincat has body positioning. This is not a fine picture.
It's a fine picture.
How is this a fine picture?
There's 3
Johnny,
blue jerseys next to 3 red jerseys.
You think Vinny Trocheck is in a good spot right now?
There are 3.
DeBrincat has
Can I talk? Can I talk? There are 3 blue jerseys next to 3 red jerseys. The turnover happens. Those plays happen. It's not like he turned it over and it went into a 2-on-1 rush down the other way. This is fine. Like, you're fine. You're in good position here. If you're Carson Soucy, then he decides to stop and not continue picking up Lucas Raymond, and Raymond walks around the blue paint untouched. You got 3 and 3 right here.
You're going to leave the part out.
What is Soucy doing there? Why is he taking the back door?
You're going to leave the part out, Johnny, where as defensemen are taught, just like on their own end, when you cut the net tight, it is the best way to lose a defender. And Carson Soucy makes the decision that
he stays in the back door.
Have body position.
Pick up the guy on the other side.
He does not have body position, so he wants to go and meet him on the other side. I'm not suggesting that Soucy did a great job there, but Trocheck is also not in the right spot. Alex DeBrincat has complete body position on him.
I'm saying he's next to him, though. Okay? He's next to him.
And then
there's 3 and 3.
But being next to a guy in the NHL doesn't do shit for you, okay? And again, I'm not absolving Soucy of the way that he played it, but everybody in their right mind knows goals, usually there's a mistake that you can draw to hundreds of feet before, right? Go to the other end. The fact that you're sitting here going, oh, those plays happen. What time was the game?
I'm not sitting here.
What you said those types of turnovers happen. What time of the game did that happen, Johnny? When did they score that goal?
3.5, 4 minutes left.
Okay, thank you. So when you're on the ice at that juncture of a 1-1 game, okay, a good hockey player, a responsible hockey player knows you can't turn the puck over 1 foot inside, outside your blue line, or you are going to create a problem for your team.
Okay, so let me tell you something else. No, let me say one more
Tell
thing.
me everything.
Right before that goal, Detroit turns the puck over. The Rangers counterattack in the neutral zone in a 3-on-3 rush themselves. Lafreniere had a 3-on-3 rush and looked to make a play to Adam Fox. The difference is Detroit fucking defends it, and then they go the other way in what turns into a 3-on-3. It was a 2-on-2 into a 3-on-3. So both teams trade 3-on-3s. The Rangers don't score on theirs. Detroit scores on theirs. I'm not going to blame it on the turnover. I'm going to blame it on the defending.
Oh, man. That is the
Rangers had their 3-on-3.
You are wearing rose-colored glasses.
No, you're just trying to get me going here, and you're not going to give up.
I'm not trying to get you going. Nobody is sitting here saying that Soucy played that perfectly or they defended the rush perfectly. But again, no less than about 7 seconds earlier, the New York Rangers are attacking and they turn the puck over 1.5 feet inside the blue line. Okay? That is a big fat no-no. Players beat players one-on-one in the National Hockey League all the time. But when you have puck possession in a 1-1 game with 3 minutes left, give me a break. That is the worst area of the ice to turn the puck over. Every coach says, win the lines. Win the lines. 1 foot inside, 1 foot outside. Win the lines. And the New York Rangers did not win the line. They found a way to hang into that hockey game because
Jonathan Quick was unbelievable.
Goaltending performance of their lifeless group. You know who had some jam in his game last night? Mika Zibanejad, a guy that
he's been great all year.
Nothing but hard on. That guy had some jam. All right, that guy is going to the areas, and I'm happy to see him scoring some goals. But you just it's hard. I feel like you're. I don't know if you're just doing this for shtick because you want.
No, I think you're doing it for shtick.
Really?
I think it's you.
I talk about turnovers all the time.
I'm not saying it was like a fine turnover. I'm saying you can't have a 2-on-2 and 3-on-3.
That was your word. Your words were that the turnover is not why the goal happened. That was a fine play. You said that.
I didn't say it was a fine play. I said the picture that the Rangers had.
Can we go to the tape? Can you cut a clip during the show? Is that doable? Because that's what you said. That's what you said.
I'm not saying, okay, Ice Club's in the chat. Let's address the chat. I haven't looked at the chat. I'm saying Soucy stops at the front of the net, picks up the back door, and no one stays on Raymond. If you're gonna not follow Raymond around the net, at least pick him up on the other side. Soucy just stops.
Completely
just stops.
Meet him on the other end. Meet him on the other side. I don't disagree with.
In no way should a player walk around the entire zone like that. In what world?
Listen, things happen quick, no doubt. Okay, Carson Soucy made a decision, and then he hesitated. If you're going to make the decision, look, I think Mason Raymond.
Let's ask Coach Sandlin about it. Soucy played for him. We got Coach Sandlin coming on today.
That is true. He did play for him, but I just
did you teach him this, Coach Sandlin?
This you. I don't think you can absolve 13. To me, that goal starts with him, and he is the culprit of a turnover late in a hockey game. And I guarantee you, the frustration in the coach's room on the video is with 13 first and foremost for not getting that puck down further into the zone at that juncture of the game. Why not get to overtime? Sorry, Colby, Lucas, not Mason. Sorry.
You said Mason Raymond? Mason. I didn't hear you say that. Yeah.
If I did, apologies
throwback.
there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Zachary82 for correcting that. I didn't realize I said that, but I just again, this to me, like, you can't turn pucks over. If you're a serious hockey team and you're a guy that's going to be out on the ice late in a hockey game, you just can't do that. There you go. I'm just combining Mason Appleton and Lucas Raymond. They're just
but Mason Raymond played as well. I thought it was Mason Raymond.
Mason Raymond played for what? Vancouver?
I think Vancouver, lefty.
Yeah, he might have even worn number 23 too. I think
it was 21.
Oh, he was. I knew it was something in the 20s. So
yeah.
Johnny, what drugs are you on today? So yeah, I just it's crazy to me to watch you absolve that guy of that, but I guess I shouldn't be that surprised by it because you still have your Lafreniere bedspread. We know that.
I think.
All right.
I think as always, you're missing the point. Obviously, you can't turn a puck over there, but the way that was defended, that the Rangers had a 3-on-3 rush right before, and Detroit gets a 3-on-3 rush right after. That's all I'm saying. The way the Rangers defended that rush lost them the game, not the turnover itself. That's all I was
The
saying.
turnover lost them the game.
Okay, let's do Parasso. We're going to get into Jonathan Quick's post-game antics quick. Parasso, the most complete choice for shaving and beard care, made in Italy since 1948. Parasso has been a staple of Italian culture and barbershops globally for 4 generations, so get 15% off at parasso-usa.com with our promo code HOCKEY15 in all caps, HOCKEY15. Mason Appleton did nothing wrong. Jonathan Quick did nothing wrong, and that's all I have to say about that whole situation. I don't know what you have to say about it. I love Jonathan Quick showing some fight. I love that he felt that it was disrespectful, even though it was maybe a split second after the buzzer. Mason Appleton, I don't think, recognized what was on the clock, or he was putting it in the net after the buzzer, and chaos ensued. But what a beautiful picture this is, seeing 2 unbelievable jerseys, some original 6 franchises getting together for an old-time scruffle. No fights even broke out. Like, this wasn't even...
Who's Panarin wrestling with there in the back part of the picture?
I'll have to see it again. I like that Adam Fox jumped in first, though.
See, I look, again, it doesn't necessarily bother me what Appleton did, but you do know as a hockey player, when you shoot the puck into the empty net, like after a whistle, you're going to light a flame. I mean, that is one of those unwritten rules, and you can
that's what Quick said.
If you agree with the unwritten rule or not, that's a whole different conversation. But you do know that that's going to happen. And honestly, like, I'm sure Quick was pissed off because, he just stood on his head for 8 minutes that he was in the net for of the game. And he got absolutely no help. Another lifeless home effort. I mean, the Rangers' inability to get through the neutral zone last night was honestly hard to watch. Everything was just so stagnant and stationary. But I guess you have to remember Todd McClellan's LA teams, how hard they were, that 1-3-1 that they played in LA for some years under McClellan, and how nobody could get through their neutral zone. I mean, that's how that's how the Detroit Red Wings looked last night. I mean, they just stayed above the puck, and they really built that wall around the neutral zone. And then even when the Rangers had to dump the puck, they were so flat-footed that, it was just easy breakouts for Detroit all night. So, and I know I made a joke about this off the top, and I'll text Reams after the show today and see what day he wants to come on this week. But what happened there? So he ducked you? Like
No, not actually.
Ducked you last night?
No, I was in the Ranger room, and then on my way to go to the coaches' press conference, I stopped in the Red Wings room because I wanted to get both sides of what happened at the end of the game. Like, I heard from Jonathan Quick, I asked Will Cooley, and then I wanted to go in the Red Wings room. But it was just Talbot and then Mo Seider were the only ones available. They only had 2 guys talk last night, and Jeff Garland was in there from Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he actually joined the post-game scrum with Mo Seider, which was pretty cool. But then I had to try to get to David Quinn's press conference because obviously, Mike Sullivan wasn't there due to personal reasons. We all hope everything's okay with him. So that was an interesting dynamic last night without him on the bench. But I just didn't see Reamer. And then by the time I got out of, doing my clips and stuff, the Red Wings were gone. So
he's also,
I don't have his number either. So I wasn't going to text him and be like, hey,
He's also he's also local to the area, so you got to imagine he's playing a game at MSG. There's probably a lot
family
of friends, a lot of family. I'm sure his mom and dad were there. I'm sure some of his buddies were there. So how is Jeff Garland? Like, what was he like? I mean, because he's
exactly like he is on TV.
him and his wife Susie on Curb are. I mean, they're as pivotal to that show as any characters in the history of a TV show. I mean, they are so funny and what was that like?
So it was like I walked in there and saw him, and I was like, "What the hell is he doing here?" But I think he's friends with Ken Daniels. And Ken Daniels obviously came on our show, the Red Wings play-by-play guy, incredible play-by-play broadcaster. Had a nice conversation with him as well. We were talking Patty Kane. But yeah, he was so funny. He was just kind of like, he was actually, Garland I'm talking about, was actually kind of like in the back of the room, not really trying to be a distraction. But then Mo Seider walked in, like they started talking, and we were just like talking to them. And then Garland was like, do you want to ask any questions? We were like, yeah, sure. So just kind of turned the camera on, asked him that question. And then, the rest is history. I put a clip of it on my social media. If you didn't see it, you can go watch. But I think we can kind of move on to the next topic here. Also, we didn't mention that, like we hinted at it a little bit, but Scott Sandlin, the head coach of Minnesota Duluth, will be our Cup of College guest today. So that'll be a little bit later in the show. But Colby, there's so much more to get to. I mean, we could talk about Colorado last night, how good they've been. Like one regulation loss.
Before we do the Colorado Islanders, and Ariel's in the chat this morning, she's kind of asking us about the Islanders. I wanted to just make another point because, you know, like I don't typically go back and forth on Twitter. We got into the whole like Michkov conversation last week, and I you know, the Flyers are winning games, and I don't know why Flyers fans are dominating my timeline so much, but just watching the meltdown over Matvei Michkov day in and day out, it's kind of become like a fun sort of hobby for me at this point. And
that's like me with the Leafs.
it's like I see Flyers fans all over, like in real life. You know, I run into Flyers fans at the grocery stores. I run into them at restaurants, and, you know, having been on television here for a couple of years, and, you know, with my background a little bit, people will come and chat with me, and it's always great. And it's really funny because in person, you just meet a lot of great Flyers fans. You do. People that you're like, these people know what they're talking about and whatever. But then there's the people on Twitter, man, and they come off as so stupid, and they're so whiny about everything that they have to say about the Flyers. And I get it. You're frustrated. This team has been bad for a while, but it's just like maybe the Flyers should just cease operations and just be the Philadelphia Matvei Michkovs, because that's all Flyers fans seem to give a shit about. And it's so funny, the people just constantly being like, oh, how's he going to develop with only 14 minutes a night? Why isn't he playing more? And I think the biggest thing that people don't realize is that, you know, throwing a player on the ice for 22 minutes a night that can't handle it for whatever reason, that's not player development either. People just want to roll him out and roll him out and roll him out. Sorry, the coach doesn't trust you late in a game because A, you don't win any board battles, and B, you're irresponsible without the puck, and C, you're not in good enough shape to play those minutes. But Flyers fans just want to roll him out. Just keep playing him. No, part of player development with young players is setting them up to be successful and giving them what they can handle. And you have a guy who is, it's widely reported that he's not in good enough shape right now. It's widely reported that he showed up to camp overweight. And sure, he's getting in better shape, but so is every other player in the National Hockey League, which means, let's say this was the gap right now, and audio only, I got both my hands up about 6 or 8 inches apart. That just continues to move, right? Because other players are also getting in better and better shape as they play more games and they get their minutes. And so I just don't understand why people can't sit there and say, you know, Rick Tocchet makes $5.5 million. Maybe he knows more than you. Maybe he knows more about getting a player better at hockey than all you armchair experts on social media. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, this constant meltdown. It's not like he's not playing. His average ice this year is 1450, so call it 15 minutes of ice. He doesn't kill penalties. So he's never going to be a 20-minute-a-night guy without killing any penalties. It's never going to happen. Would you like to see him at maybe 16
18
minutes a night?
I would say 18
minutes.
Yeah.
But Johnny, even that's difficult when you have the Flyers they don't have one power play that's playing 1 minute and 40 seconds of every power play. It's a little more evenly split, right? And you're seeing each power play unit get maybe a minute, maybe unit 1's getting 1 minute 10, unit 2's getting 50 seconds. So you're not picking up those extra minutes. And then the other problem is when you're in a 1-goal game late and your coach doesn't trust you without the puck, he's not going to put you on the ice. It's not good for a player to drown, okay? Part of player development is not throwing you in the deep end and saying good luck, all right? So all the experts out there that are just, it's only about Michkov and not about any other player on the Philadelphia Flyers, I mean, it's just annoying, honestly, Johnny. It's been getting under my skin. It's all over my timeline, and it's annoying. And all the responses about his minutes are just annoying.
I'm also like looking at the NHL schedule. Like The Flyers not play this week? What's going on here? Like, I just found their first game. They play against the Devils, and they won't play, I think, all week at home. I don't know what's going on with the schedule. Sorry, I'm just trying to look and see when their next game is. But again, the Flyers are a team that just don't. What's their identity? You know, who are the Flyers this year? Like, what is their team? Like, I remember in the preseason, I said, what is their strength? I didn't see one. Trevor Zegras has definitely been way better than I think anyone anticipated. But if you're Rick Tocchet, like, what choice do you have?
No,
right now?
and the reality here is that they're what they are. They're a team that's going to flirt with the playoffs and probably not
They're
get
not.
in.
You think they're gonna flirt? I
They're
know they're
gonna
off to a
flirt,
decent
but
start, but you don't think they're gonna
yeah,
drop off?
yeah, they'll have their drop offs. I mean, listen, they're 5-3-2. They, they've got points in 7 of their last 10 games,
Yeah.
which isn't bad. I mean, that's pretty good. If you get if you're getting points in 7 out of 10, you're going to continue to flirt. They're 1 point behind a wild card spot, as Vic is throwing up the standings right now. But I look, they've never committed to a full burn it down rebuild. They're committed to this retool situation, which is why they've signed like Dvorak for 1 year, and they're not overcommitting, and they're still trying to figure out their goaltending situation. But I don't know, man. I just it's irritating how you have all these people that think player development is just throwing a guy on the ice constantly. No, it's not. And now we're multiple years in a row where it's the coach's fault. It's the coach's fault, right? It's the coach's fault. When do we look at the player and we say, maybe there's holes in his game. Maybe there's a reason this is the second coach in a row that doesn't trust him late in the game, right? Maybe he's not winning board battles. He's not, wink, wink, okay? Maybe he's not responsible away from the puck. Maybe he just doesn't skate well enough and he's not in good enough shape for 16 to 18 minutes, which, again, that's a fact right now. That is a fact, right? He came in heavy. He came in out of shape. He took 4 months off. So just seeing him be the only thing that dominates the headlines in Flyers land it's just annoying. So go ahead, Johnny. We can move on if you want.
No,
it's just annoying.
We were talking about it before in the brief moment that we weren't fighting with each other in the pre-show. Like, coaches right now, especially a guy like Rick Tocchet, like, their mentality is not to develop guys. Like, you're a coach, you're trying to win a hockey game. You're going to put the best guy out there that you think will win you the hockey game. Like, that's what coaches are there for, right? Unless like
late
maybe
in the game.
Yeah, unless it's a situation where, like, I feel like even Ryan Warsofsky, he's coaching to win games. He's not coaching to develop. But like the roster has are young guys. It's different. It's a different roster.
There is a fine line, Johnny, because I do
MYR
think
Marine.
The NHL has turned into a league where player development is actually now part of it. It didn't used to be that way. The American League used to be the only place to develop, not the NHL. Now there are more players that are developing in the National Hockey League than before. So you have to walk a line. But again, remember something. Player development is not just go ahead, go drown. It's not. So, all right, you stayed up late and watched that whole Colorado Islanders game.
I caught the end.
Right?
I caught the end of it.
You caught the end. Look, the Islanders have been playing good hockey. I mean, they're Matt Barzal has kind of gone up a level for the time being. In the last 10 games, they're 6-3-1. I think nobody expects them to really be able to compete with Colorado. And then I saw you reposted that whole
the Schaefer thing.
Yeah. What is your, like, again, people who are saying, oh, that was the dumbest take ever. Who in their right mind thought Schaefer was going to be this guy at 18 years old? Like, history tells you the complete opposite. I don't think it was a bad take to worry about Schaefer going into the NHL as an 18-year-old defenseman at all. Like, I stand by that take that a guy who only played 17 games last year could have developed elsewhere. But again, there's always exceptions to the rule, and this guy is the exception to the rule. There's no doubt about it. But I still don't think it was a bad take to think that Schaefer potentially needed time to develop, not in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I still stand by it. And I quoted that as a joke. Like, I said, should we take this down, Colby? Just because, again, like he's proved everyone wrong. I don't think anyone could have stepped in and predicted that Matthew Schaefer would be this way. But I also want to shout out Eric Hornick, a good friend of mine, the statistician for the New York Islanders, because I feel like after last night, all the Makar Schaefer comparisons are being made. And Eric tweeted this out. Matthew Schaefer is 18 years, 73 days old today. Where was Cale Makar at the same age? It was January 11th, 2017. Makar had a goal and 2 assists for the Brooks Bandits in the Alberta Junior Hockey League in an 11-3 win over the Olds Grizzlies that was witnessed by 1,073 fans. 5.5 months later, he'd be drafted 4th overall by the Avalanche, then go to UMass for 2 seasons before joining the Avs for the 2019 playoffs. By the time he made his regular season NHL debut, he was a few weeks shy of his 21st birthday. The Islanders will play a total of 250 regular season games before Schaefer turns 21. Like, Schaefer's development, if you want to call it that, or his entry to the NHL is like, it seems light years ahead of Cale just by age, if you're lining those two up by age and what they've done so far. Like, I don't think the NHL has ever seen someone like Matthew Schaefer. And we've been saying that, I feel like, since game 3 of the season.
So let me just ask you one question.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that you think Schaefer's ceiling is higher than I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm asking you a question. Are you suggesting that Matthew Schaefer has a higher ceiling than Cale Makar? Like, great info. But let me just ask you, like, where are you going with that info? Just curiously.
No, it just, everyone's going to draw the comparisons of Cale's entry versus Schaefer's entry. But Cale's entry, he had 2 years of college under his belt and was, on the verge of turning 21. Like, where Schaefer, just the way he's come in, you have to keep in mind the age difference, the experience difference. Like, it's not a neck and neck comparison. And I think that's what everyone's saying. Like, when Cale Makar came in, he turned heads. But, as someone who will always be a Cale Makar guy, Schaefer's way more, like, it's way more impressive. It is. So if you ask me, like, whose ceiling is higher, I think you have to just kind of automatically go with Schaefer, but I'm not going to say that because, like, Cale's a freak, man. Cale's hip mobility, his release, his shot, his vision, his skating, like, he's the best. He is. But I mean, it's scary to think what Matthew Schaefer could be 250 games from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just looking up Cale Makar's his numbers. He had 50 points in 57 games his first year. He had 44 points in 44 games his second year. He had 86 points in 77 games his third year. 66 points in 60 games, 90 points in 77 games, 92 points in 82 games. So since his first year, he's been at 1 point or more than a point a game in his career. It's kind of crazy to see a defenseman who's got 453 points in 414 games. Look, I personally, like, I don't know if we'll ever see a guy as good as Cale Makar, Johnny. I just don't. Ariel put in the chat, people will call me a homer for this take, but I'd take Schaefer.
Oh no, what you say?
Because of ceiling, age, and him being on his ELC. But Ariel, like, Cale Makar
guy's got 2 Norrises.
He was once on an entry level contract as well. He has a Stanley Cup to his name.
Conn Smythe, 2 Norrises. Hobie Baker.
He's won 2 Norris trophies.
World Junior.
Look, I understand where your head is at here, but I'm going to go ahead and say Cale Makar, until I see otherwise, is the best guy to play this position because, again, not just his offense, his compete level, his defense, his stick, his feet, all of the above. So I'm going to say that, again, like, saying, well, because of his age and you'll take him more, over him. Well, again, like, he was once on an entry-level contract and a 21-year-old defenseman and was doing all these types of things. So I'm definitely taking Cale Makar 7 days a week. If I have the first overall pick to build a team in the sport of hockey, I'm taking Cale Makar number 1 overall, probably before I would take Connor McDavid. If I had the second overall pick, I would take Connor McDavid. But to me, Cale Makar is the guy that I'm building any hockey team around, that I'm starting. I don't know. I think that he's the best player. And him and McDavid, obviously, but nonetheless, like, what what Schaefer's doing night in and night out, and how about what he's doing without the puck? I mean, that's the other thing. Like he's not lost in his own end, right? He understands all of the reads defensively, and he has his moments as he continues to learn this league. But what he's done without the puck, I think, is something that won't get talked about and should get talked about, because that's sort of like what I think sets him or even Makar apart from everybody else. And is that, they don't look like young defenders, like they've come in like a ball of energy with offensive abilities, but they don't look like teenagers defending. And that's, I think, as impressive as the other side.
Well, speaking of what won't get talked about, that should get talked about while staying in theme with this game, is Scott Wedgwood. But Colby, before we go into Scott Wedgwood, just want to give a quick word from our sponsor, Bauer. This segment will be a presentation of Bauer and the Bauer Pro Sharp Advantage. This at-home sharpener gives you the ability to sharpen your skates with pro-level precision at the touch of a button, leveraged by decades of progressive innovation. This machine is designed to be as automated, precise, and convenient as possible. Easy to use, the Advantage features an interactive touchscreen user profiles and has readily available how-to videos and troubleshooting tips to have you ready to sharpen like an expert. Whether you're sharpening skates in your garage, at the rink, or even on the road, the Advantage at-home sharpener ensures that your skates are always game ready. So learn more at the Bauer Pro Sharp Advantage at Bauer.com. Last night, Scott Wedgwood, saved Colorado that game. The Islanders had a great power play chance. Palmieri, I think, got robbed in the bumper position late in that game. I'm blanking. It might have been Barzal. I'm blanking on who had the other late chance that Wedgwood robbed with his right pad. But Colorado Avalanche, Colby, they're on a 10-game point streak, 8-0-2 in their last 10. They have one regulation loss, and we're at November 17th. And in those 10 games, Wedgwood has 6 starts. He's got a .934 save percentage and a 1.84 goals against. I mean, what Wedgwood has done, and he's earning the net. I think he actually owns the splits between the two goalies. He's got 15 starts. He's 11-1-2 on the season with a .917 and 2.17 goals against. So it's become Scott Wedgwood's net in goal in Colorado, and the Avalanche right now are the clear-cut best team in the NHL. I mean, I don't think anyone can deny that. And I think when it comes to like teams that come out on home ice, but like buzzing, I didn't see the beginning of that game. From the highlights, it seemed like the Islanders were kind of right there with them. Emil Heineman, I think, also has the first goal in 3 straight games for the Islanders. So if you are looking to place a bet on Bet365, maybe take Emil Heineman first goal scorer. But yeah, the Avs on home ice, like they seem, pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always have to wonder though, like, do you peak too early? I don't
7-0-2 at home. Just reading.
I don't think it's ever necessarily a great thing to be playing.
This is a bad thing.
Your best. It's. I don't know if it's a bad thing. I think but I do worry.
I'd much rather be the Avs than be the Rangers.
Of course, but again, like when a team gets this hot, and it is playing so downhill like the Colorado Avalanche are, and you're getting all these bounces, and again, it's not a bad thing. You ride these waves, right? Winning is everything. But have we not seen year in and year out, you don't want to peak early. And maybe this team is built not to necessarily peak, Johnny, but to sustain it. And they certainly do look heads and tails above everybody else. I mean, I think a lot of people were sitting there in the West going Vegas, Vegas, Vegas. Well, yeah, I mean, look, Vegas is. So was I.
They're struggling right now, right? They've lost like 4 or 5.
They're 3-3-4 in their last 10. They do occupy a wild card spot, but barely. And look, think about the playoff picture right now. Vegas is hanging on by a thread. Edmonton's not even in the playoffs right now. Utah's not in the playoffs. After that, I don't think there's a ton of surprises there. But I mean, what's your confidence level here, Johnny? Like, leave these up for a second, Vic, if you don't mind. Yeah. Who's going to come out for Edmonton to come in? Or is Edmonton going to be on the outside looking in? Not to mention Utah, Johnny, who I know you picked them to be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, for me, it's Seattle is the easy one.
That's what I was going to say too.
And I don't think Vegas ends up in a wild card. I think, again, once Vegas can get some goaltending, I think you're gonna start to see a team that's a little more consistent. Has Carter Hart played yet in the American League?
He played last night, I believe, was his first game.
Was that his first game? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, look, he played 2 goals. You know, he had a two goals against average and an 857 last night. So not necessarily a great first start for him. But again, you got to give the guy a little bit of time to find his legs. But teams are going to have to come out, or we're going to have a team like Edmonton on the outside looking in, which I don't see that happening, Johnny, when the final buzzer hits.
No, me either. Again, like Chicago's in there. I think Anaheim will stay in there. LA has been interesting, right? Like I watched LA against.
What'd you think of the Kempe contract?
Oh yeah, what was it? 10.6.
Yeah, what'd you think of that number?
That's kind of what we talked about with Pagnotta, right? Like we're putting Kempe and Tuch in the same category. Both guys like 29 years old. Both guys.
I think Kempe's more impactful, at least offensively, than Tuch.
Well, I think we don't know with Tuch just because he's been in Buffalo. Like Tuch's still been a really good player, but Buffalo's been a shit team.
I like Tuch. I'm just with Kempe. Here's why I thought that contract seemed a little low to me. Because
for the team or for Kempe?
For Kempe. First off, he lives in California. So the 10.6 he makes in California is a whopper. And I remember having this conversation with Lane Hudson's agent. When Lane got 8.8, he'll still make more money than Jackson Lacombe will make at 9.5. So with Kempe, like, I think that number is low because he scored 35 goals, 41 goals, 30 goals, 35 goals. And this year he's got 6 so far in 19 games. So not necessarily on the pace that he would like. You're buying 35 to 40 goals, Johnny. I mean, to me, I would have thought with the cap, if he goes to market, I think there would have been a team willing to give him $11.5 million bucks, or even
I think 12. I think 12.
Even closer to 12.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think he left some money on the table. Kempe, he's like said, I like it here in LA. I don't want to move. He probably likes the weather. He obviously likes giving a lot of his money to the city or to the state of California.
Cool dude too.
Maybe he's got a house in Florida, and I didn't see the structure of the contract. Is it signing bonus loaded? I'm not sure anybody necessarily tweeted out the contract terms, and so all right, cool. So Johnny, I know you've got a quick read to do, and then we do have Scott Sandelin, who is the head coach of the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs, who are having quite a season. They seem to be, grabbing their place back where, we saw them be so dominant for such a long period of time in the college hockey space. But I am excited to have Scott Sandelin on, and you were mentioning to us earlier that he played with Craig Berube and Rick Tocchet, right? And
in Philadelphia.
A lot of Flyers conversation earlier in the show about that whole development piece. Listen, it's a good question. We should ask him about it too. I mean, but why don't you read him into the show here, Johnny?
So as always, our Cup of College segment on Mondays is presented by Out West, and the El Dorado collection is now at the Out West HQ. This drop features 3 new colors of our best-selling Zakara performance hoodies with Nightfall, Kentucky Charcoal, and Kerry Green, subtle tones that were heavily requested from the fan base, so they're new on the roster. Our 2 performance pieces as well. We work closely with our manufacturing team to find a French terry fabric that's more durable without sacrificing comfort, and bring on the Brighton full zip jacket and Stella Performance Q-Zip, both available in 4 colors for effortless layering and performance. Out West, every game needs an outlaw. And with that, let's bring on head coach of the UMD Bulldogs, Scott Sandelin. Thanks so much for joining us, Coach. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
I was actually talking to Dave Starman about you last night in the Ranger press box. He's obviously a huge fan. You got Ryan there with you.
Yeah,
so I actually kind of wanted just to talk about the change of maybe tone this year. Like you got 2, star players right now that are leading the country in points that I think no one really knew about as much going in, right? Like there's so many guys that have been highlighted in college hockey, but I feel like the Plante brothers weren't getting the love in the beginning of the year, and just they've taken over NCAA hockey by storm this year.
Yeah, they Yeah, with obviously the changes, there's a lot of big names coming into college hockey, and I think there's a lot of really good returning players too that are in college hockey. But we knew what we had with those guys. They were part of probably one of our best recruiting classes last year. We brought in 12 freshmen last year, and 11 of them are back. One hit the portal, but it's a really good core, and certainly those guys were at the top of the list. And they've got a lot of history here too. The program means a lot to them. Their dad, obviously Derek, played here and was a great player here. So they have a lot of pride in the program. And last year, Max missed a little bit of the year, 10 games with an injury, and didn't play a full year, but still averaged, I think, a little over a point. I think he's 1.25 points per game last year, and Zam had a good year too, but he was dealing with some injuries. So they're just a year older. Didn't like how last year went. They're winners, and they're very competitive kids that have really good hockey IQ and great offensive ability.
Sandy, we have a pretty big Canadian audience with us, and I think a lot of them are just starting to learn more and more about college hockey with the new rules and everything. And so I do feel like we get an opportunity to kind of introduce a lot of programs to our listeners, and they're probably not super familiar with the fact that in the last 15 years, you're talking 3 national championships, you're talking 6 Frozen Fours, and you're talking 12 NCAA tournament appearances for your team. And I love seeing all the trophies behind you. I think it's a good reminder for what a dominant stretch you guys had in college hockey. But I kind of want to go a little more overall coaching here, because we were thinking about some of the guys that you've had over the years: Mikey Anderson, Dylan Sandberg, Neil Pionk, Alex Iafallo, Carson Soucy, Cole Koepke, Noah Cates, like guys that we're watching play in the NHL every night. And one of the things that sort of strikes me about all those guys is that they're all really, really low maintenance, but highly dependable hockey players in the National Hockey League, right? And we had this whole conversation earlier about Matvei Michkov and the way Tocchet's been using him and the way that the fans are losing their minds over player development. And I said, part of player development is not throwing a guy into something that he can't handle, right? When I look at all those names that I just brought up, guys that you have had in your program, how is it that there's such a blueprint for these guys when they get to the NHL of dependability and reliability? Like, is that something in the sauce there at Duluth?
We'd like to think a little bit of it is, but I think it's the type of person they are, the character they have, and just their drive to be the players that they are too. And obviously, I like to think that we do a good job in helping develop them get a little farther before they move on to that step. I've always said, like, you come in here on a scale from 1 to 5. 5 is pro, and 1 is probably the lowest. But a lot of guys come in here in that mid 3s, and if we can send them out of here closer to that 5, we'll never get them probably to 5, because you've got to experience pro hockey over your time there and grow with the game there, just like you do when you come to college. So hopefully we can put them in a good spot. We let them grow as people, and I think being around the same type of players, like-minded players, it's nice to have that. It's kind of what we're going through this year. With this group and the incoming group, they're around a lot of like-minded players that are very driven to get better and are good character kids and good teammates. And I think that's kind of been our first, kind of prerequisite when we're recruiting kids. They've got to be good kids. They've got to fit here. They got to fit, what we're trying to do here. And most importantly, they got to want to play here. And we've been lucky that we've had a lot of those guys. Certainly some of them are local. Obviously, within the Duluth area, Hermantown's been a good area for us to recruit, and we've had some good players, and obviously Minnesota, but we like to have a good mixture on our roster. But a lot of it, I got to give credit to the players. They get here and they want to get better. And that's why, we were very successful through that time, though. We just kept getting those players, and, the returning guys kept help showing the way. And, hopefully we can get that back. And this year has been a good start.
So just to follow up, how do you balance player development and winning? Because I do think, especially for a college coach, I mean, those
Mhm.
are so important to be able to do. And that was like what we were talking about earlier when
Mhm.
all these fans are complaining Mitchkoff's only getting 14 minutes a night right now. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, again, Rick Tocchet needs to be able to trust him at the end of a game. He's got to be good enough to take 18 minutes. You got to be in good enough conditioning. There's so many things. So how do you balance that? Because I do find that it is a tightrope, especially at the college level.
Yeah, it's difficult. And again, you look at the world we're in right now, Colby, right? I mean, it's a different world than it was 15, 20 years ago. There's lots, obviously, more money involved. Winning is really for probably coaches. It's probably becoming probably more important than it maybe used to be. But I'm in a really good. I'm fortunate. I'm in a good spot. Obviously, we had a great run. I've had some ups and downs here as a coach and program, and I don't necessarily feel that pressure that we have to win. I do want to win. It's a byproduct of what you're trying to do, and we feel each and every year, like every team, that the ultimate goal is to win a championship. But um, you have to you got to remember college is still part of a big part of it is the development and kids growing and maturing. And that's the reason I love coaching college and watching players come in as younger players and staying for however long they stay and just grow and mature through the years. And that's the fun part. And, you got to keep doing that over and over again with new groups. And, but that's the enjoyment part. And when you have the right kids, I think it's a little bit easier, but some kids now are in such a hurry to get to where they want to get to without taking the steps. And that's a hard thing to convince kids, right? To just slow down and stay on a path. And there's going to be ups and downs. And, even this year, we've got some freshmen that are experiencing it, right? And they're experiencing how hard college hockey is. And, especially when we get to our league, I think our league is extremely difficult night in and night out. And we've got some players that, have been learning that I won't say the hard way, but they got to get that seasoning. And we've only played 6 games and they got to learn. They just got to learn going through those experiences. So yeah, it's a tough thing, but I still think you stick to your values as a coach and your principles. And, the biggest part is kind of growing and making this a process through the year and helping those players along and putting them in spots, whether there's nights they have to sit out or they're playing and situations warrant that they don't get as much ice time. But then you communicate with them and try and give them your reason why so that they understand. So I think communication is a big part of that development too.
Coach, speaking of communication, I was actually talking with Coach Carville over the weekend at UMass. I was doing the games against BC, and I know you guys have had some good battles over the years. I asked Coach Carv, like, if he thinks, let's say 5 years from now, guys will be more inclined to stay in college versus making the jump to pro, like for, let's say, their junior or even senior season, because it seems like the kids who leave after sophomore year, and it used to be one and done, but now it's like two and done, they're still finding out that the AHL is not very glorious. Like, and Carv actually had a great quote. Did you dream of playing college hockey? Kids say yes. Did you dream of playing the NHL? Kids say yes. Did you ever dream of playing in the AHL? Kids say no. So if you have it good in college, why are you going to make the jump if you don't feel like you're going to step into an NHL lineup right away when you have incredible facilities and you're treated like a pro? And now guess what? Some teams actually even pay you in college. So, he said everyone's different, but also the communication is, kids will come in and say, Coach, do you think I'm ready to leave and go pro? And he'll be honest and say yes to some, no to others, obviously. But then the NHL teams come in and they want guys. And how are kids going to say no to the NHL, right? So there's that weird imbalance. But I'm curious how you deal with it. And, your guys, I'm sure the sophomores on the top line, you're going to be put in that same situation here, I think, come April, right?
Yeah, Carby's right on. I think, it's interesting when you recruit players. You're getting conversations about where should I play junior hockey. So you help give them some guidance. You don't necessarily tell them, exactly what you want to do. Maybe some guys do, but just give them some guidance. But I always feel like sometimes when it comes to their decision to go pro, they want to listen to the coaches, but they don't really listen to the coaches. And again, we have, their best interest at heart. We're not always being selfish that we want them back, but we want to put them in a position and, try and tell players that, hey, if you're leaving college hockey, we want to see you play in the National Hockey League. And Alex Iafallo, for me, is one of our great examples of that. He had opportunities to sign his sophomore year, his junior year. He came back, had his best, his best year as a senior. And I remember him sitting in our players' lounge after the season and talking to about 24 teams and trying to decide as a free agent where he should go. And he hasn't played in the American League. He played 4 years here and obviously he's had a great career in LA and now in Winnipeg. So he's a great story. And there's a lot of those types of stories, but some guys do have to experience the American League, but college is, it's funny when you talk to those players, like they're going, oh yeah, college was great, right? Why did, they always kind of have regrets too. So you can use those stories, but ultimately kids are going to, make the decision, but you like to help guide them. And, agents play a big part. Certainly the NHL teams play a big part. And, again, we're never going to fault a kid for wanting to go play and try pro hockey, whether they're ready or not. It's still in their DNA that that's what they want to do. And obviously they might have to take a little longer to get there if they go too soon, but, you still got to encourage their decision too.
What would you say is the percentage, if I can, Colby, quick, what would you say is the percentage of the kids who text you the year after they leave when they still have eligibility saying, Coach, I wish I stayed. I miss it.
Well, it's always fun when you go to the golf tournament and you're drinking beer. They always want to talk, right? So it's you hear a lot of good stories, but no, you hear that a lot. You hear it through other players too. Like they kind of regret maybe at times leaving, but if that was something for me, I would just say just stick with it. You made your decision. You got both feet in. You got to go. You can't sit and worry about what if. You had a great time here, and hopefully we helped you move along the development chain a little bit, but now you're on your own. And I do think sometimes it's not about physical abilities or skills. It's the mental capacity. I think the mental toughness to play at that level and go through some of those ups and downs, because, it's not all glorious, right? You're right. I mean, everyone wants to play at the highest level, but it's not always, the case for players, and you got to be mentally tough through that. And we've had some younger players that have experienced that. So you're trying to have conversations with them, just to say, hey, just stay with it. You're a good player. You're going to be good, and just keep working. And there's going to be some ups and downs. Just like it's great when kids go through that adversity here. The best thing is, we can't trade kids. Well, I mean, the portals open up some different avenues, but you're going to be there, and you can work with those players, and they're not having to worry about being, traded away, and that's their choice if they choose. But, you can build those relationships here and through those ups and downs and help them through those times.
And for anybody who are joining us late here, we are talking to head coach of the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs, Scott Sandelin, currently the number 3 team in the country. I think it's 11-3 record is what I saw this morning, which was a hell of a start. Johnny's asked me that question before, Sandy. Do you regret leaving early? I left after my junior year. Coach Parker and I had breakfast, and he said to me, like, I think it's the right decision for you to go. I just think you've hit that point. And that made my decision really, really easy. Now, I was a flop as a pro, but I don't regret it. I mean, of course, I'd love to go back and have my senior year, but I don't regret it whatsoever. So I do think it's always, interesting from player to player. I think every guy looks at their life now. I've got 2 kids, and I'm like, I'd kill to go back and play another year of college hockey or be in college. Who wouldn't, right? And so he has asked me that same question before. I want to read you this one from the chat from Zachary82, is one of our loyal listeners, and he's asking us to ask you your thoughts on Max Plante, and if I know you talked a little bit about them earlier, but is there a player that you've coached that reminds you of Max that you've had over the years?
There's a little bit of Noah Cates in him. the competitive part of him. Yeah, he's just. I always like to use the word. He's probably one of the most determined players I've ever coached, and that can mean a lot of things. But just he's just a winner, and I just think he's competitive. He's got really good skill. He's kind of fearless. I mean, sometimes I worry about him because he plays that way. He puts himself in some unbelievable spots, but not good ones, by the way. But no, a little bit of that. I think I know that line we've made reference to our 2011 top line of Jack Conley, Mike Conley, and Justin Fontaine, three undersized, high IQ, small area players that really play well off each other in all three zones, but especially the offensive zone. But no, that's a great question. But I know, like, I love Noah. I mean, Noah was a player that just did so many little things well and had just a high compete level, and just whether it's puck battles, whether it's tracking, whether it's getting to the net, and he's still doing that, which is why he's having a good pro career. But they're very similar in some ways, but very different. The interesting thing, Colby, is the brothers are different. They are different personalities, same mentality. I mean, they've been brought up obviously in a hockey family with Derek, and certainly well schooled in hockey, but Zam would rather go hunting, and Max would rather be in the right. So it's just interesting to see the different personalities.
Well, and you got Victor coming in too next year, right?
We do. Yeah. Hopefully, I told them if they're all here, they're all playing together for at least a game. So, we'll see how
that'd be cool.
That lasts.
I think Noah Cates is one of those guys, Sandy. Like I living here in Philly, I see a decent amount of the Flyers, and they've been a better team to watch this season. He's probably one of the most underrated players. Like, I bet if you went to a number of markets, they wouldn't know who he is. But in Philadelphia, I think he's probably their most consistent forward night in and night out over the course of a season, which is why he came in as a free agent. His brother was the draft pick, and he's just endeared himself to this franchise from day one, really, of coming into the Philadelphia Flyers. So, again, I'm happy that we're getting an opportunity to spotlight some of these guys. And again, like, Mikey Anderson, Neil Pionk, like, we name all these guys. And I don't know if people just generally are realizing where these guys have come from and the amount that they've won. And so I'm appreciative of the fact that, you gave us the time, but that we're able to talk about the Bulldogs here and get a little bit of love to a program that certainly deserves it.
Well, thanks. Yeah. I heard you guys talk about Berube and Tocchet earlier, huh?
So, yeah.
Good friend, Chief. Yep. Yeah. It was fun.
I've had his back lately, Sandy, because I'm like, all that market did was clamor for him. And now all that market has done is so quickly, turned and they got the sword to his neck. And I know that's part of coaching, but what do you do if you're Craig Berube? I mean, look, he's the kind of guy I assume is not looking at Twitter, as I'm sure you're not either. But what does someone like him do when he has those types of players and maybe the guys just, I don't know, like, they're not performing?
Well, Chief's going to probably do what he needs to do, and obviously he's gets his teams to play hard, and he'll stay with what he's doing. I mean, he's not dumb either. He's going to figure it out, and he's going to have to make some changes like we all do. But I think his principles and values probably for how he wants his teams to play are pretty straightforward, and you need more guys to buy in. And again, like, sometimes it takes time. Sometimes guys just don't get it. But like, for me, I just can speak of him as a teammate and a friend. And it was great to have on your team and great to have as a teammate. So, and I know from the coaching side of it, you just got to keep finding things that can work. And obviously, I've never coached at that level. I'm sure there's guys in college that get sick of our voices too, but I don't necessarily see that. I mean, I think they lost a key player in Marner. Obviously, they've had some injuries too, so seems like there's a lot more injuries this year with in that level right now early in the year, and with the condensed schedule probably more. But he'll find his way through it, and I'm sure he's not paying any attention to Twitter because he is about we're going to do it this way, and we're going to get through it.
Coach, I just got one more question for you, and I'm kind of wording this on the fly, so I apologize if it comes out a little discombobulated. But obviously, there are so many legendary college coaches that have been with programs for so long and have won multiple championships. But it feels like it's been a long time since one coach has won multiple championships, like a decade apart. I think you guys won in 2011, before you went and won in 18 and 19. And I'm curious, like, the difference between winning in 2011 versus winning in 18-19, like how much college hockey changed in those 10 years and what winning was like for you with those two different teams.
Well, it didn't change as much as it's changed from probably 2021 to now, right? I think, college hockey at the time, I felt during that decade, I thought there was, like there is now, a ton of parity in college hockey. The rules were pretty equal for everybody. You still had your bigger programs that had bigger, more resources, but that's always been the case. And there was a lot of hardworking staffs, and it's probably why you saw, the different winners right through that stretch. And we won and got back there again in 17. People forget that. Like, we lost to Denver in the final in 17.
I just wanted to leave that one out in case it hurt.
And again, but everyone's like, "Oh, you could have, if you'd have won in 17, maybe you win 3 in a row." I go, "Yeah, we win in 17, and that's the only one we win." You don't know, right? So, but it was good. It was good for our guys, and I don't know if it's changed. I think it's, I think there was just so many hardworking staffs, and I think there were some programs that, because the rules were the same, found a niche to how they wanted to build their teams, and we were kind of the same way. And we were fortunate. We had a good run of players, and we just kept building on that, and had a couple of really good recruiting classes. We found some, at the end of the day, we found some goaltending, right? It was unbelievable. Like, we had, Kenny Ryder was our goalie in 11, and he was probably, he didn't play for 2 years. He was behind, Stalock and Miska and, those guys. And then, Hunter Shepard comes on board, and listen, guys, goaltending makes coach look really good, but it certainly helps. And it's a big reason. Even this year, we're having a better start because our goaltender, Adam Guyon, is having a better year, but not a whole lot of difference. We were fortunate. And when you get there, right, when you get to those opportunities, whether it's the NCAA regional or your playoff championships or the NCAA Frozen Four, and guys experience that, they want to get back there whether you win or you lose. And that was something that was really important, because you have to get that. You have to get that experience. I think it helped. Probably Carby would say the same thing. When we beat him in Buffalo, they end up winning later, the next year or 2 years or whatever it was. And, just that experience of going through that and being there, it certainly helps your team. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah.
I think it makes complete sense. And now obviously things have been sort of turned over, and there's all this new player pool to join in from. And let me ask you this before we let you go, and I promise we're going to let you go in a minute here,
That's
but how has the new lay of the landscape with the CHL, like how has that changed the way that you guys are looking at recruiting, or maybe it hasn't? Because we've had a lot of conversations on this show about, the early returns of the CHL guys versus what we know and what we've trusted out of the USHL for years, and what that type of player looks like and the development path. I mean, I know you have had a ton of success bringing guys in from the USHL over the years, a lot of Minnesota kids, a lot of USHL kids. What has changed in your eyes, or maybe nothing for you guys because you guys have stayed the course?
Well, we realized we probably, with the expansion of the CHL and that market, we could use a couple more coaches, right, to be recruiting. But no, I don't think it's changed a whole lot for us. I mean, I think I firmly still believe in the recruiting and building those relationships and trying to do it that way. But with the portal and with the CHL opening, I mean, there's a whole obviously bigger pool of players that certainly are available. And again, from that standpoint, you still want to get the right kids, and you still got to do your homework, and you still got to, make sure you're not just grabbing someone just to grab somebody. I think that's really, really important. So I think moving forward, we were in the same thing. We had one defenseman from the Western League, Graydon Seatman. We looked at maybe one other player, and we didn't want to maybe necessarily grab too many right away. We kind of wanted to see how things go, and obviously, they're still freshmen. Some are having really good starts. Some are growing into it, but it's still kind of that experiment. But I think, we don't really need to. I won't say we're never going to go and grab a bunch of guys, but I still think we're gonna build through kind of what we've been doing and fill some holes and hopefully, keep developing our players and growing our team that way. So that's kind of our plan. We're not in the big money sweepstakes, so that does change it a little bit. But at the same time, for some of those, is it sustainable over time? Could be. Where does that go? I just think we need time, Colby. I think we need time to see how all this, goes over the next year or two with all the players, and that's kind of where we're at. And we're fortunate we don't have to go out and grab a bunch of players because we've got a young team that we're going to try and continue to build and grow with. So, and then obviously we got some recruits that, we're going to stick with and get them in here like a Victor coming forward amongst others and see where we go. Again, if it's good enough, it's good enough. If it's not, then maybe down the road we'll have to change our ways. But we're kind of sticking with kind of what we've pretty much done. And, you just have some different avenues to get different players now with the portal and the CHL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, with
like
12
you said
NCAA,
too.
12 NCAA appearances in the last 15 years, I think stay in the course. And I'm looking at the top 10 and, the rankings, which again, we know right now rankings are for basically for social media. I know most coaches are, but I'd be willing to bet of the top 10 teams, like there's probably the least amount of money being doled out. And you're ranked number 3. And I think that says a lot about your recruiting and the types of guys you recruit. You recruit guys that are dying to be Bulldogs and they don't have their hand out asking how much, which is the case in a lot of places. And hey, listen, I'm not looking down on that whatsoever for those other places. You do what you got to do, right? You play the cards you're dealt. And I think something that in the years you and I were, in the Frozen, you were in the Frozen Four and we were covering it and we really started to get to know each other and we got all the meetings together. I started to really learn what a Bulldog was and what playing for Duluth meant. And I would get that sense sitting across the table from your players every year at the Frozen Four for that run of years. So, that's something I've got to experience, Johnny, firsthand. I know you had one more thing you wanted to add here and then for the third time, we'll try to let him go.
No. I was just going to, no, sorry, Coach, what were you going to say?
No, that's good. I could talk hockey for a long time.
Yeah.
Good. But
I was really just going to say, like, you said it's changed more in the last 5 years versus, that 10-year gap. And I'm sure 5 years from now, it'll be a whole different ball game. But like whether you like the changes, you don't like the changes, you agree with it, you disagree with it. I think the one thing everyone can agree on is like the popularity of college hockey is skyrocketing, right? Like it seems like,
For sure.
the fact that Gavin McKenna was on ESPN to talk about what school he wanted to go to, like that doesn't happen, right? So I think that's the one thing that everyone's got to be excited about, right? Whether you're dealing with NIL issues or you're doing it or, whatnot. But like 10 years from now, I think college hockey is going to be like unreal. It already is.
Yeah, you're right. And I think it's exciting for the college game right now. I think, just having that more exposure with certainly some of those high end players coming down from the CHL, that's good for our game. It was back when we weren't, maybe the worlds weren't that way. We were excited when we got the Fantillis and players like that to play college hockey, and Macklin Celebrini, right? They're playing college hockey, and this was before obviously the rules changed. So we were excited about winning kind of that battle. So it's going to make college hockey better. You can see it already through the beginning of the year, just some of the scores and games, and I don't even want to call them upsets anymore, because that's where college hockey is. It's hard, and everybody's gotten better, and who knows where everyone's going to be in the second half when some of these players continue to grow. But we're in for a really good future in college hockey with this.
Well, if you want to catch the Bulldogs here, they play at Colorado College for 2, and then at Western Michigan for 2 before they play Arizona State for 2 at home. So not an easy stretch for you guys. No. You're definitely going to be tested here over the next 6 games. NCHC TV is one of the better hockey streaming services I've ever seen. So if you want to see the 2 leading scorers in the country and the third ranked team in the country, go to NCHC TV and check out the Bulldogs again. Their next 6 games are going to be a gauntlet. So good luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you in Vegas this year, because I think you guys are certainly built for that time of year. So thanks for coming on today. Always good to catch up.
Yeah, thanks, Colby. Well, I'll be there. I just want to be there with my team. This committee stuff that I've been on, so I'll see you there one way or the other. But it would be nice for this group to experience that. So
cool. All right,
thanks for doing this, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me on.
Awesome stuff, Colby. Well done.
I gotta say this about Sandy,
he's just
too.
Classy.
He's probably, of the successful coaches in college hockey, he's probably the most humble guy of the group. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of really good coaches have sort of an air of arrogance to them, and I think that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. My dealings with him over the years, over the last 10 years or whatever, even when they're winning year in and year out championships, he's a very humble guy. And I think that's the type of recruit that they get as well. That's something I was sort of alluding to. And when we meet with teams and players, like, they're always a very humble group. Like, if you think back to a couple years ago and we had that BC team, and Cutter Gauthier was just a quote machine for us, and saying like the other teams are going to be crying, and like, again, stuff we love. No, like we love it as broadcasters, but Duluth, man, when they come in, all business, all completely like, blue collar, workman-like, totally humble guys. So you could see it's top down with Sandy, like, no doubt. That's who you get with him, just so you guys know. I mean, that's not I'm changing for the cameras. He is a very, very well thought out, humble guy at the leader of the helm for that team. And so again, it's a program that a lot of people they have no idea about, right? It's this small little program in Duluth, Minnesota that, has been one of the most dominant programs, and also putting a shit ton of players in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like the years I was in college, it was dominated by Duluth. Like, they were in the national championship, I think 3 of the 4 years. Well, the 4th year was COVID. So every year I played in college, they were the team in the national championship. So I've been very familiar with Duluth and their program for a long time. I also wanted to shout out a buddy, Dan Jackson, who went to Duluth. He's like a huge diehard Duluth fan. He sent me a couple questions. So those couple questions I had too weren't just off the top of my head. They were from Dan as well. Wanted to shout him out. But yeah, so, the college hockey. What?
Go ahead. No, finish.
No, I was just gonna say what people don't understand too. The college hockey coach breed, like, I don't know how you feel, Colby, but I told Carv this weekend. I actually had like a really nice heart to heart with Carv, honestly, which I should talk to you about off air. I can even do it on air if we can bring Carv on one of these weeks. But I like didn't learn the X's and O's of hockey until I stepped foot in college. Like I knew the game, I thought I knew the game, but like I didn't learn like what hockey is. Like now the way I watch hockey is completely different because of like where I went to school and the things that these guys teach day in, day out. Like I know everyone says they don't play enough games, college is 35 to 40 games, whatever, but
I'd
the amount you learn.
I'd love to see them get to like 42 regular seasons.
The start of the school year is too much.
Yeah, like
it should start mid-September. Mid-September.
Yeah, no, I agree. Start playing games the second week of September.
Yeah,
like you're saying. Yeah. They got to bump it up like 7 to 10 more games. Like no doubt about that. By the way, and I'm laughing. The DL show is started late, and he's freaking out that we said Mason Raymond.
No, not we.
Sorry. I said Mason Raymond, not Lucas Raymond. So we're a Mickey Mouse pod. Keep watching. All right. DL show and cool your jets. But I do want to go back to the NHL a little bit. So if you want to finish your thought here on college, there are a couple of NHL things that I want to kind of get into you here quickly before we take care of a couple of other things. There was part of this show this that we wanted to talk about the Eastern Conference playoff picture. And I want to bring the chat into this conversation. Can
I do a quick read first?
Yep, you can. Go for it.
So this will be presented by our sponsor, Prime. Stream Prime Monday Night Hockey exclusively on Prime Video and experience thrilling goals and dramatic plays from the NHL. Monday nights are hockey nights, so don't miss a moment of the action. And tonight, Cole Caulfield and the Habs visit Columbus to take on Kirill Marchenko and the Blue Jackets. So check out the link in our description for the Prime Monday Night Hockey schedule on Prime Video, or go to primevideo.com/NHL. Colby, continue.
I'm just laughing right now because everybody's like, Colby doesn't want to talk about BU. Like,
we got Jay Pandolfo at a good time, huh?
They're terrible. I mean, listen, like they are a bad team to watch. We don't talk about the Buffalo Sabres on this show because we don't waste our time on bad teams, right? So we love that Pando came on last week, but pathetic the way that team is playing right now. Pathetic. So I don't want to waste time on it, but I have no problem saying the way that team is performing is absolutely pathetic. But I want to go to the NHL, and I want to bring the chat into this part of the conversation. Right now, the Leafs, the Panthers, the Lightning, the Capitals, and the Rangers all sit outside of a playoff spot, okay? I would say Daily Buffalo Stray Part 2. Sorry, Buffalo. Yeah. I'm sorry for the stray, but that's what I'm comparing them to right now, just so you know how I'm looking at. So, we're talking about these teams, Johnny. You look at the way Tampa got beat up yesterday by the Vancouver Canucks.
I didn't get to see it, but I read about it. 3 goals in like a minute for Vancouver.
It was just, again, they're just.
Well, Twitter went from like Vancouver sucks to Tampa sucks, and like.
Listen, Tampa's played good hockey lately. I mean, they have. Their last game.
Did you watch their game against the Rangers? You think they played good hockey?
Well, I'm talking about in their last 10 games here, Johnny. Like, this is a team that got off to a really bad start. But when you're 7-3 over your last 10 games, like, you're playing good hockey, right? Nah. So the way they played yesterday, the way they played it, yes, I did see the New York Ranger game. No doubt about that. But of those teams, the Rangers, Tampa, Florida, Washington, Toronto, even Columbus. I'll throw Columbus into the mix there. They're 5-3-2 in their last 10. Like, who's coming out for some of those teams to go in, right? Give me your predictions in the chat, right? Who is going to make the playoffs of those teams? Because I just can't see a world where we have no Tampa, no Florida, no Washington, no Toronto in the playoffs. Now, Washington's on a terrible skid right now, 2-6-2 in their last 10. I was not a believer in the Tampa Bay Lightning this year in the preseason, Johnny. I was sort of like thinking for them it was a maybe wild card spot, or I've said I think the holes that they have in their roster, I had issues there, and I got killed for it, right? but
Mhm.
at what point, and I know you're already out on Toronto. I mean, you've already
I've,
made all
I've
your
been
bets.
out on November 3rd.
Yeah.
I was done. November 3rd.
That's what
I
I'm
said it.
saying. You've been out on those guys for a while, but do we think any of those teams are getting in? Because come American
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, most of them are still going to be on the outside looking in. So chat, what are we thinking here? Like, and if you're going to tell me who's going to get in, I need to know who's coming out, right? Because you got to subtract if you're adding.
I think Pittsburgh's coming out. I think the Islanders are coming out. I am very iffy on Detroit. After watching them last night, like I think they played well. I think the Rangers took a lot of penalties, and Detroit really relied on their power play.
What do you think of that Connor? By the way, the Connor Carrick, the holding, the stick hold.
Oh my god, I love Dave Maloney going off on the officials for it. Listen, I think Compher got his stick around the midsection of Carrick. Like
I didn't think it should have been a penalty on Carrick.
The way that Compher got the stick in Carrick's midsection, like looked exactly like the rule hooking, and then did Carrick chicken wing a little bit, maybe to sell it? Yes. But I don't think in
very
any world,
very little.
Like one thing doesn't happen without the other, right? Like if you're gonna call Carrick, you're
really
call,
really soft call. I didn't like that one, but all right,
they didn't score on it anyway. Either way,
you're talking about why you don't trust the Detroit Red Wings.
Well, I just don't think they're very top heavy. It feels like they have one line that's dominating. And again, like I think their blue line can also be a little bit iffy. But
do you, after watching that game last night, do you put Patrick Kane on the Olympic team?
Sorry for breathing too deep in the microphone there.
Yeah, while Sandelin was talking, all I could hear was
I started muting myself. I'm
doing
sorry.
Something with something weird with your nose.
I think the headphones make it like more. Do I think Patrick Kane's on the Olympic team? I don't think so. Again, though, it's just like this. This is me, like with the feelings and stuff. You know, I know what you're going to come back with, but the guy's about to be the best American-born player of all time. It's his last chance to play in the Olympics. Like, how do you not just bring him there? You know?
Okay, so you are bringing him.
Like,
but you're not. But you're saying you're not bringing him because of.
He said he wants to be on the team because of the player he is, not the player he was. And the player, he's still a good player. Like,
yeah,
the guy's money on the power play as always. Does he have the speed? No, but he was never like the fastest skater. I just again, it's tough to think of a U.S. Olympic team without the best American-born player as he's in the league, right? Like it just feels wrong. That's where I'm at with that.
Yeah. So, but you watched him live last night.
And he looked good. I thought he had a good game, but it was a lot of power play. A lot of power play.
And look, that's one of the reasons you bring him is for the power play. Now I've made the argument that his aura might be too big because so many of the star players in the NHL, they still all grew up with a Patrick Kane poster on their bedroom walls. Yeah. I remember, was it Brady Tkachuk just talking about on his podcast about how his first
Showtime.
Like, I do believe that is part of it. I think players, he's one of the only guys left in the NHL, and maybe Ovi's right there too, and Sid probably as well. Their aura is so big, and I guess maybe Sid's different just because he doesn't maybe command the puck as much. Like, Kaner's demanding of the puck. He wants it. He wants it when he wants it. It runs through him. And is having Kane as your 13 or 14 forward, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if that's the right decision. I just, I think
Jim the Swede. Look at Jim the Swede's comment.
What did he say? What did Jim say?
Imagine Guerin calling Kaner and being like, "Sorry, man, you're a legend, but your aura is too big. You're off the team."
Yeah, I don't think he would say that. I hope not, at least. But I do think it's a real thing. I think when it comes to Kaner, I think guys defer to him a little bit too much because I think that he was everybody's favorite player. Every young American star, their favorite player was Patrick Kane. All of them.
Let me now counter and say having Patrick Kane there, the one thing Patrick Kane is missing from his illustrious NHL career is Olympic gold. Don't you think that'd be a little bit of motivation too? Like, let's get Patrick Kane an Olympic gold medal.
No.
No.
I don't think so at all. I don't think you can think that way. If you want to have him on your team because you see a role for him, bring him. Okay?
Well, I'm
and no
that's
one,
part of it.
And no one's going to question it really. But no, you cannot, as a general manager, say we need to get Patrick Kane a gold medal at the Olympics. You can't have that thought process. He's either a guy who can play a certain role for your team, or again, he's the best American of all time. Like, so Vic, when you put the clip out today,
you see Jake's comment
to get the entire state of Michigan down my throat, I want that part of the clip in there. He's the best American of all time. Okay. I would pay money to go watch a game that he plays still. He's that type of guy for me. Okay. But you can't pick the team based on, feelings about Patrick Kane. Get that damn thing off the screen right now. Vic has put a screen bar that says Colby hates Patrick Kane for those of you who are audio only. Good to see your dial today on this Monday, Vic. So
okay, let me ask you this, Colby, though, because now we can get into a conversation that we didn't feel like we necessarily had to have because it was outdated. But Jack Hughes now out for what sounds like 8 weeks, right? Like, how does that affect his Olympic, whatever the word might be?
Out too, by the way. I think I saw, right?
There's a lot of injuries.
He's going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Doughty. He has a broken toe, I want to say. Does that sound right?
I think he walked out in a boot, if I read that correct.
Yeah.
Tommy
T
walked
says
out in a boot.
ADHD is real. We went from Eastern Conference playoff picture to PK 88 Olympics without concluding the first topic. Yeah, no doubt. We are definitely bouncing. This is what happens on this show. Like, things go certain ways and, we can't control them. And that's what's going to happen here from time to time on Morning Cup of Hockey. So that's how we roll.
Yeah. And I guess, do you want to talk Jack Hughes or no? Like, I just honestly, as much as I argue and hate Devils fans, I can feel for a
Devils
fan base.
Fans. You are a Devils fan.
And an Islanders fan and a Ducks fan. But I could that just sucks, man. That really sucks. I love Jack.
So
it said 8 weeks from what I heard.
So 2 months until he's cleared to play again. Remember, it is a hand injury, so he can skate. Okay. Yeah. So it's not like he'll be off the ice. My guess is he'll be back on the ice ASAP.
I think it's his top hand. I think it's his right hand.
That gets you to, let's see, December. I mean, when are the Olympic Games? February?
Yeah.
I think he still goes, no doubt. If he has 2-3 weeks to play before the Olympics, I think they take him no matter 100%. They take him based on that time frame. That's what I think. I mean, right? That's got to be the general.
I would think they take him, but what if he's comes out of the gate from injury and not playing? You know what I mean?
They're still taking him as long as he has a couple of weeks.
OC's playing.
As long as he's got a couple of weeks to play. By the way, do you buy the whole thing, the dinner injury? I mean, I think they're like, oh, it was totally harmless, nothing happened. Are we all buying that? I mean,
what else? I'm sure they were boozing and stuff, but we didn't cut them. What do you think? I mean, yeah, probably.
I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe they're doing something stupid and no one throw it. Who knows? Guys get some drinks in them. You never know. I'm just wondering, are we just buying it hook, line, and sinker that it was just a freak accident and there was no
everything that's been reported? The restaurant said there was nothing no funny business going on. Okay. I don't know. I mean, we're gonna sit here and speculate about that.
We can ask questions, Johnny. You don't have to be worried about what Devils PR is gonna say.
You're asking questions to me. Who are you asking questions to?
There's nothing wrong with just asking the questions. So
yeah, everything that's been reported, I think he fell and landed on a broken glass. That's kind of what I've seen.
Oh, that's what the report is, that he fell on glass.
Yeah, there was a broken glass on the floor and he fell.
I thought it was something to do with a knife. That's what I originally thought, that maybe it was a cutting accident.
No, That's from what I've heard, it was a glass.
Randy, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just asking the question.
Colby's just a shitster.
PR hook, line, and sinker. The reason that I feel that way is having worked for an NHL team and having seen the amount of PR huddles and messaging spins 7 days a week happening in Chicago. I am a little less, I'm a little hesitant to just believe the team line these days. I'm just hesitant to hear those things. And so I think that it's our job to ask the questions. And again, I hope he's all right. I mean, the kid was playing out of this world. And
yeah, I just feel bad for him, man.
I'm glad Shane Lachance he got his opportunity to come up to the NHL and play with the injury. And, maybe he'll get a little run here of games. I know he didn't play a ton in his first game. It was a tight game, but, NSNVSBLTY is asking, is he suing the restaurant if he fell and cut himself? Probably not. He probably makes enough money that he's not ambulance chasing, but I guess you never know. And so anything else, Johnny, that you really want to get to today?
Also,
I'm sure Vic is going to start getting pissy with us because he's got to get ready for Leafs morning take.
Just like Matt Mugna, I've seen him write a couple times, and I know Matt pretty well, but this had nothing to do with like Frank the Tank. Like, I think Frank the Tank was just at the same restaurant. It wasn't like a Frank the Tank birthday dinner. Like, it was a separate, like the Devils were having a team dinner upstairs, and Frank the Tank was having a birthday dinner downstairs.
Where was the dinner?
It's called Chicago Cut.
I've been there. I've been there. Cut. Good spot.
But people are saying like it was a Frank the Tank birthday dinner. I think the Devils were just having a team dinner, and Frank the Tank just happened to be at the same restaurant.
Yeah.
But I did see that
General Soreness in the chat says the Timberwolves said Kevin Lowe injured his hand doing knuckle push-ups, but in reality he broke his hand punching a dude. Okay, wait, never mind. Yeah, I did. I'm not going to read the end of that. General Soreness. I didn't suss that out before I decided to read it out loud. I'm not going with that. That sounds a little made up, but so I'm not going to read the end of that, Johnny.
Yeah. I was just saying, but Spit and Chicklets, I saw they posted their episode this morning. They have Frank the Tank on, so I'm sure they clarified what happened in their episode today. So I'll probably go listen to that
Chicago
at some point.
Cut. I like Chicago Cut. They had great food. I'm pretty sure the first time I went there, Eddie Olczyk set it up for us, so we got like the VIP treatment, and it was really good.
Jenna.
What did Jenna say? I broke my hand.
I broke my hand punching a wall at work and got fired. It was worth it.
Oh, I love it. That's why we love Jenna. Jenna should be playing hockey. She should be out on the ice, playing on a fourth line somewhere, just enforcing things. That's our resident Seattle Kraken fan out Jenna Henderson in our chat. Great contributor to this show, as a lawyer too. So there you go. If anybody needs anybody needs a lawyer, you got to hit up Jenna Henderson. If you're in the greater Seattle area, now I'm speculating.
Washington Tacoma, is that what it's called?
I don't actually know that's where it is, Jenna, but you could get some free PR right now and some free marketing. Johnny, anything else we got to get to today? I think we still got to do Bet365, right? But I do like the idea of dragging the show on and making Vic sweat a little bit for Leafs morning take.
I love Vic so much, man. How could you even want to talk Leafs right now? Like, who wants to talk about it? They lost to Chicago again on Saturday. I've gotten so much joy now out of hate watching the Leafs. Like, I don't actually hate the team, but it's just been so fun to watch the fans like crumble. And even our buddy Nick Alberga, like, there was a graphic last night Sportsnet tweeted about Mitch Marner and how he's fitting in well, and he's like, Vegas has lost 4 out of 5. They're losing. He's fitting in perfect, just like he did in Toronto because the team's losing, something like that. But yeah, it's been a weird NHL season, huh? Like, so many injuries, so many weird storylines, teams like ass backwards doing better than they should be doing, right? Like, you got Chicago and San Jose and Pittsburgh and Boston and the top of the Atlantic. Like, it's just been a bizarre year. I guess we also, friend of the show, hope Charlie McAvoy is doing well too. Haven't seen any reports about what happened there, but just wanted to say that. Also, I guess we'll get to Bet365, Colby.
Yep.
So tonight's bet of the night, presented by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. And remember, you must be 19 or older. We did hit on Thursday, so the record should be 11-11 now for the year. And tonight, speaking of the Boston Bruins, we're going to take them on the money line. They're home dogs at home against the Carolina Hurricanes. And keep in mind, the Hurricanes are still missing Jacob Slavin, Jalen Chatfield. I saw Seth Jarvis got hurt, but I don't think he's fine. I think he's playing. But Carolina's been on a little skid here as of late as well. They've lost 2 of their last 3. So the Boston Bruins are hot, and that's what we're going to roll with. A pretty heavy home dog tonight.
You got anything else you want to get off your chest this morning, or everything's all right?
Dean Letourneau, speaking of Boston, he looked great this weekend for Boston College. He's really come into his own. Already tripled his point total from last year. I mean, only had 3 assists last year, but he's
friend of the show, Dean Letourneau, friend of the show.
Him and James Higgins had great weekends this weekend. So Boston Bruins fans, they got a lot to be excited about. That's for sure.
It's a tough weekend for UMass, huh?
Yeah. Friday night, Saturday night, I thought they played a little better. Just couldn't score.
Yeah. Any of the games tonight, Johnny, really ones you'll be dialed on in particular when you look at, I mean, Montreal's on a skid right now. I mean, they've lost 3 in a row and it's been ugly, very ugly. Vancouver coming off their big win. Florida's got to start grabbing some points. I mean, they're treading, but they do need to start stringing some wins together. Although again, we don't really know when Matthew Tkachuk is going to be back, right? I mean, it's supposed to be sometime before the Olympics.
He said it on his podcast. I haven't listened to the full episode yet, so I got to listen to that at some point today. But I know he said I think his timeline, he's supposed to be back on the ice, I think skating in 2 weeks, or he'll start skating in 2 weeks. I think that's what he said. The chat might be able to help if they listen to the show, but that's the last I've heard.
Okay, and then you've got Buffalo and Edmonton tonight as well. Come on, you want to say hi, buddy? Come on. Everybody's asking for Oliver in the chat right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, and then you've got Edmonton, Buffalo, I said, LA, Washington, Kempe coming off that big contract, so he'll have a lot of money on the board. Yeah, it's pretty digestible. And then, you got the late game tonight, the 10 p.m. game between Utah and Anaheim. I would call this a digestible slate, Johnny.
Yeah.
Although I don't love the fact that 3 of the 4 early games are all 7 p.m. games, right? So, that I never like, right? So, all right, look, give this show a like on your way out the door today. We appreciate the questions that we got for Scott Sandelin. It was another good Monday edition of Cup of College. And here's what I'm going to ask all you guys for today. Go to our YouTube stream and, put some names in the chat that you would all like to hear from for Cup of College, right? We want to know what programs you're interested in, what coaches, maybe it's a player. Johnny's dying to bring college players on the show. Me personally, I like getting the coaches on the show. I think they have more insight. But go and leave us in the stream once we're done so we can actually refer back to it and let us know who it is that you want to hear from. Give us the names of the coaches you want to hear from. Give us the programs that you want to learn about. We've already done Michigan State, Lepresti, so Trey Augustine's going to have to wait. But put it in the stream, and we won't be asking your pal Little Willie to come on. Motzko is pretty far down the list of people that we're interested in hearing from. Go ahead, Johnny.
Well, I just wanted to say I saw Walter Barker say, nice upset by LIU this weekend. My roommate, Brendan Riley, is my old roommate, head coach of LIU, and I wanted to say to Big Willie, suck it, because they beat Minnesota at Mariucci this weekend. Biggest win for LIU in their program history, and good personal friend behind the bench there. So wanted to shout out LIU.
Again, in the chat right now, we see it all, but we cannot refer back to the chat. The chat goes away. So leave these on the stream once we're done. Make sure you get your automatic download set. We will have the whole episode as one. We will also have the conversation with Scott Sandelin as the other. So you'll be able to parse out what it is that you want to listen to. The other thing that I've seen and that I know we're going to work on for you guys is some timestamps for the YouTube stream as to where we went. Sometimes that's hard to do because we float around so much, but Leave all those comments. Let us know once the show's over. Go to the YouTube stream and let us know. Automatic downloads, like button, subscribe to the Daily Faceoff YouTube chat. I didn't see Zach or Jeff today, so I don't know what they have going on for the sheet at 1 p.m., but you guys can catch that. We're not sure. Oh, we do have Elliot Friedman coming on tomorrow. So we will have our every other week Elliot Friedman appearance on the show tomorrow. We will have James Van Riemsdyk back on with us this week. I will find out what day he wants to come on, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, we hope everybody has a great day. We appreciate all the comments, all the contributions, and get to the stream and leave those comments of who you want to talk to and who you want to hear from so we can refer back to it. And with that, we hope everybody has a nice day, and we'll see everybody back here 9 a.m. tomorrow.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Morning Cup of Hockey here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. And don't forget, we've got more great hockey content every day. You can catch DFO live at noon and stick around for the sheet with Jeff Marek at 1 p.m. right here on Daily Faceoff. Until then, keep your coffee hot and your takes hotter.